Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel right now. We are awaiting the release of Twitter Files Part 5 or the Hunter Files Part 5, whatever you want to call it. It is the most groundbreaking revelation of digital or cyber treachery or political manipulation we've seen since the Democratic National Committee, with their own writing, with their own wonderful hands, typed emails, incriminating emails that showed that they railroaded Bernie Sanders. Elizabeth Warren and Donna Brazile admitted to that. Hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen, to my super chat. I cannot thank you enough for your support. Your support is greatly appreciated. Let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. So we have the Twitter Files 1 through 4. And I believe Barry Weiss is supposed to come out with the Twitter Files Part 5. Elon Musk has the Part 4 pinned to his tweet. We can go to Barry Weiss's Twitter profile. It has not happened yet. So we're going to check and we're going to review the Twitter Files Parts 1 through 4. And we're going to discuss exactly how they were able to do this and why they can't do this anymore. They banned Trump because government agencies, and that's the issue, ladies and gentlemen. The First Amendment protects against government agencies or the United States government trying to go ahead and silence speech. Hello, Eric, everybody here, hello. Thank you. Oh, by the way, Paul Bartlett. Thank you, Paul, in Australia. Paul Bartlett, thank you. To my super chat, thank you so very much. I cannot do this without you. Paul Bartlett, thank you again. As always, Paul, thank you. Kristen, everybody here. Herd Mutiny, everyone here, thank you. Joel Valdez. Let's get started. So, number one, we have government involved. So the rebuttal is, well, government wasn't really involved. They were protecting the country. When you have government agencies, here's the National Review. Twitter executives met with a specific government agency weekly before Trump lost. You can't say that they were trying to protect the country from Trump after he lost. Before he lost. He was a sitting president. Okay, so that's number one. You had government agencies working with a private company, influencing a private company, and you also have in the Twitter Files Part 1 and Part 2, actually Part 2, the Twitter Files Part 2 show that not only did government agencies get involved, but also House Democrats got involved. So House Democrats got a third-party polling firm or public relations firm. Little Eddie Van, hello. They got a public relations firm to influence at the behest or on the behalf of House Democrats to influence officials at Twitter. See, when the United States government gets involved, or like congressional Democrats get involved, they're not going to write a letter saying, oh, please go ahead and ban Trump and ban Dan Bongino and Charlie Kirk and everyone we don't like. They're not going to do that. They're not going to say, do this for us right now. We're breaking the First Amendment. Just like when Sussman and when all of the attorneys linked to Clinton and the Steele dossier subsource in the Steele dossier, the people who compiled the Steele dossier, they didn't say, oh, we're deceiving the United States government. They utilized government through a variety of surreptitious, disingenuous, duplicitous, and manipulative means. So what happens is they don't write a letter saying ban Trump. You have government officials serving at the, because they're investigating another country interfering in our pristine democracy. So they'll meet with top Twitter officials every week. So you'll have the Federal Bureau of Investigation meeting with top Twitter officials every week. Just so happens they meet with the content and moderation team. That just so happens that they're saying, well, you have to be on the lookout for materials that are disseminated by another country. Then a couple of weeks later, the New York Post runs a story on Hunter Biden. Oh my God, that must be what the government agencies were talking about. You know what? We have to suspend the New York Post. And also there's 50 former government officials. And so that's how they do it. You have 50 former intel officials, and then in court they say you can't prove that we were trying to engage in a manipulative act. But you already have text messages from former bureau officials. We'll stop Trump. You already have the internal Slack and emails and text messages of Twitter employees who were more than happy to fabricate reasons to ban Trump. So this is not rocket science. You had the government get involved. The United States, you had loyalists within the United States government, loyalists of the Democratic Party. This is not rocket science. Okay? You even had a New York Times article talking about somebody, an anonymous person, trying to keep Trump at bay. I mean, do you remember that article? I mean, Democrats would never stand for what they got away with pertaining to Trump. So you had government silent speech. Again, they're not going to write. This is the really important point regarding the Twitter files. The Federal Bureau of Investigation or specific agents or Homeland Security or specific government officials are not going to write a letter saying ban Trump tomorrow. They're not going to write a letter saying ban Trump tomorrow. They're going to go through surreptitious means. They're going to meet because it's a sensitive time, and other countries want you to know the corruption within the Democratic Party. So they met with Twitter officials. So government was involved in this process, and Elon Musk has stated just today he wanted to prosecute a specific government official, and it's a crime scene. He's called Twitter an actual crime scene. So he knows that, like, you have to almost certainly believe that the Twitter files aren't even 1/10 or maybe even not even 1/100th of what went on. Okay? They weren't even 1/100th probably of what went on. You had a concerted effort to silence the opposition or the adversaries or the political opponents or the rival political party of Democrats. That's what happened. That's what happened. Now, the rebuttal is, well, you know what? It was just, they were a private company and government didn't tell them what to do, and it was a thorny process and it was very difficult. No. Democrats found a way to silence Trump, silence Republicans, suppress the truth about Hunter Biden, suspend the New York Post while at the same time allowing all the rhetoric and dialogue they dislike about Trump to be freely discussed among Democrats. Okay, they don't have an actual value system. They were more than happy. They were more than happy to allow Democrats to voice as much skepticism as possible. There was a double standard, not only in terms of protocol and guidelines, but government officials weren't informing Twitter staffers or Twitter officials. Government agents weren't informing Twitter officials that they had to be careful because there might be some negative information about Trump that they had to suppress. The Steele dossier was the definition of interference by another country. It was literally purchased from another country, or from people it was compiled with people from another country, one of which was an intelligence chief or a high-ranking intelligence official at the Kremlin, if you could believe that. The Steele dossier was an example of everything Democrats have been harping about for the past 7 years. Oh my God, another country wants, exactly, Florida man bear, exactly. So you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where it's only a matter of time before we have Twitter Part 5 coming out tonight, hopefully while we're still on this live stream. And hit subscribe, and to my super chat, thank you so much, everybody. But let's just do a recap of the Twitter Files Part 4. There's one tweet from Michael Schellenberger talking about Barry Weiss revealing the Twitter Files Part 5 today. So hopefully it's within the next hour and 20 minutes of this live stream. Twitter Files Part 4, the removal of Donald Trump, January 7th. So we'll just review the latest revelations, and we'll wait for Part 5, because it should be coming out any day. And by the way, in the chat, if you see Part 5 come out, let me know. But Twitter Files Part 4, the removal of Donald Trump, January 7th. As the pressure builds, Twitter executives build the case for a permanent ban. Again, these are Democrats who wanted to ban political rivals. It wasn't just a private company. It was a private company taking advantage of, not yet, Part 5 isn't out yet. It should be out in the next hour and a half. Hopefully it comes out when we are still live. But these were lifelong Democrats. These are far left Democratic, basically like activists or partisans. They weren't just employees meeting with government officials. The First Amendment laws were broken. You had government officials influencing and silencing debate and discourse, doing so through very surreptitious and corrupt means. But here, Twitter Files Part 4, the removal of Donald Trump, January 7th. As the pressure builds, Twitter executives build the case for a permanent ban. Again, Trump was not convicted of a crime. That's one thing also. So they keep saying that his tweets or his words influenced people. They can't prove this in a court of law. They can't prove this in a court of law. Okay? That's the very sad and very frightening thing about all of this. Trump was not convicted of anything. Trump was not convicted of anything. In a court of law, they don't have any evidence that Trump committed any crimes at all. Okay? He didn't commit any crimes at all. Okay, but what happens is that you suddenly get this situation where, well, we know that his words influenced people, so we're going to ban him anyway. We're going to ban him anyway. And oh, by the way, every other platform is going to ban him also. Every single other platform all at once is going to ban him. And see, that is Trump had already sued Twitter, and he's going to sue Twitter again. I talk about that today on this channel. The reason the initial lawsuit was thrown out was because, well, government, initially the judge said, well, government wasn't a part of banning Trump. Now we know government was a part of banning Trump. They despise, you have loyalists already. You have loyalists within these government agencies that where text messages and emails say, we'll stop Trump. So you know they're a loyalist there. And you know they're working with Democrats. I mean, if they try to circumvent the fact that the Federal Bureau of Investigation and Twitter employees were working alongside one another, you still have House Democrats intimidating Twitter officials through a third-party public relations firm, a polling firm that says, oh yeah, Democrats are going to be, and even Republicans are going to be very upset. They're going to be very upset if the Hunter Biden laptop situation is published, because it could be hacked material. Okay, they made such an emphasis on hacked material because they were traumatized because they lost in 2016 because the Democratic National Committee emails showed that they actually cheated Bernie Sanders. So, on January 7, Twitter execs create justifications to ban Trump, seek a change of policy for Trump alone, distinct from other political leaders, express no concern for the free speech or democracy implications of a ban. The Twitter files is reported. So, is reported with Leighton Woodhouse. So, you have a situation where this behavior, if Trump was doing this, would be viewed as the most authoritarian, totalitarian behavior. But see, again, the way that Democrats and liberals make themselves feel good about them, they feel good about themselves when they say, oh, these are the authoritarians. The word starts with an F. And they convince themselves that they're the heroes in their own fantasy, their own distorted, warped fantasy, where they're the heroes, silencing and banning anything they don't like, making absurd leaps of logic. They do this also when there's a mass tragedy. They say, if only we can erase the Second Amendment. It's like, well, criminals actually don't care. Most people who commit crimes with, that object, inanimate object, or that most people who commit crimes with firearms obtain the firearms illegally, okay? So this is a fact. Criminals don't care about, Democrats love laws, and they love government when they're controlling the laws in government. The problem is they lack basic logic, okay? Also, the First Amendment and free speech is very important. That's the bedrock of democracy. It's not Trump being in the Oval Office for a second term. Hopefully that happens. I think DeSantis and Trump will go at it. We'll see what takes place. For those catching up, Part 1 documents where Matt Taibbi documents how senior Twitter executives violated their own policies to prevent the spread of accurate information about Hunter Biden's laptop. Okay. Part 2, where Barry Weiss shows how senior Twitter executives created secret blacklists to de-amplify disfavored Twitter users. These people were the true authoritarians. Okay, G. Corber, hello to the members on this channel. Hello, thank you. G. Corber, hello. Okay, thank you so very, very much. And to my super chat, Paul Bartlett, thank you. Can't do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoy these live streams, your super chat is greatly, 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 greatly appreciated. Part 2, where Barry Weiss shows how senior Twitter execs created secret blacklists to de-amplify disfavored Twitter users. not just specific tweets. You got to understand, loyalists, activists within the Democratic Party love censorship, and they love silencing. They don't want debate. The more you debate, the more discourse you have, the easier it is to disprove any claim Democrats make on a number of things. They're right sometimes. Democrats are right sometimes. Liberals or progressives are right sometimes. Okay, they're not wrong all the time. They're wrong a lot of the time. And what happens is they really can't defend a lot of their absurd leaps of logic. Calling Trump a totalitarian in the same mold as the 1930s and 1940s shows you're ignorant of history. It actually shows you believe in a revisionist, distorted type of just unethical viewpoint. Like, it's a distorted revisionist history where you have to actually downplay or mitigate or dilute or tarnish the memory of the untold number of people who suffered inhumanity beyond words, barbarism beyond words, cruelty beyond any form of comprehension. But Trump is bad. He's mean. He's just like the totalitarians in the 30s and the 40s. I mean, these people are so, like, this is why they can't even have friends and family. This is why they disown friends and family. Because they're not able to, like, have a civil dialogue. Oh, you disagree here? Okay, I disagree here. Let's just, continue drinking or eating or whatever. They can't do that. It's like part of, because they've kept themselves away. The cognitive dissonance is like, they don't know the corruption on their political side, because they're not, they don't know the corruption on their political side because they're not allowed to see this, because they're not allowed, and also they don't want to see it, and also the cognitive dissonance wouldn't even allow them to understand that actually the Democrats are far more corrupt than Trump ever was. Furthermore, and they haven't indicted Trump. You can indict numerous Democrats tomorrow. That's what Musk wants to do with the specific government official. Okay, so I call it the Michael Avenatti effect. When you are a government official or a political celebrity, and you think that you're omnipotent, or that, well, you know what, now Stormy's lawyer is serving, 10 plus years in prison, something like that. So anyway, in part 3, where Matt Taibbi documents how senior Twitter execs censored tweets by Trump in the run-up to November, while regularly engaging with representatives of U.S. government law enforcement agencies. There you go. Okay? That's where the First Amendment is broken. Okay? The government agencies weren't worried about anything that was negative towards Trump. They also didn't inform Twitter that Hunter's emails were actually they had Hunter's laptop, so the emails were not hacked material. That's the issue. Like, what I was trying to explain is that the average Democratic voter doesn't understand or comprehend the corruption within his or her political party. They don't even think it exists. Furthermore, when they're given the information, they say Trump is worse. They've been conditioned. Do you understand? It's like this Pavlovian response. They've been conditioned to say that Trump is worse, even though Trump isn't worse, objectively not worse. His words, yeah. The optics, Democrats have better optics. This is true. If you're not into politics, you'll see like, oh, well, the Democrats seem more normal than Trump. That is true. The problem is, if you care about policies, if you care about actual corruption, and you don't just focus on optics, Trump or DeSantis is the much better choice than any Democrat. Okay? Democrats don't give anything to their voters aside from we have higher poverty rates. I mean, it's unbelievable too. Like in 21, and this is why Elon Musk wants to prosecute certain government officials. In 21, they were saying that, oh, look, poverty has decreased. Look at the poverty rate is decreasing. You're pumping trillions of dollars in stimulus. After you forced states, or states did so gleefully, shut down economic activity. This was an economic sin, ladies and gentlemen. An economic sin. This traumatized millions of Americans. It broke friendships and family bonds, and people said, no, you can't come over until you jump on one leg and fly through these hoops, and oh my God, and everyone was traumatized. Well, actually, the people who believe media were traumatized. That's not to say that you shouldn't take things seriously. When I cross the street, I look both ways. Okay? I love living. I love my life, and I'm going to take life seriously. But I'm also not going to listen or be paranoid and have the same risk-reward ratio as maniacs. I'm not going to simply suspend logic and reason because smart people, or because everyone is yelling at the same time about one thing under the sun. It could be any topic, by the way. It could be any topic, by the way. That's why Musk wants to start prosecuting people. Okay? People who lost their lives from narcotics, people who lost their lives from jobs, like so many, like you can't just give a check to people and say, okay, you know what, here's 2 years back in your life. You can't just do that. You can't just do that. And then the rebuttal is, well, you know, it was a chaotic time. No. You wanted to kick Trump out of office. That's exactly what you wanted to do. And if I'm speaking in a verbose, long-winded manner, for the people who know this channel, they understand. They wanted to break down the spirits and the will and the esprit de corps and they wanted to be the gatekeepers not only of speech, but also of how you experience life, living. And they said, if you don't do what we tell you, you might not, breathe again. But if you understand the groupthink, the tribalism, the fact that smart people can also be imbeciles, like brilliant people who lack wisdom can be maniacs. This is a maxim that everyone should understand. Brilliant people, highly intelligent people, moral people who lack wisdom can act like maniacs. And that's what you saw. But here, as part 3, Matt Taibbi documents how senior Twitter execs censored tweets by Trump. Okay, so I read that. For years, Trump had resisted calls to ban. Twitter had resisted calls to ban Trump. Blocking a world leader from Twitter, it wrote in 2018, would hide important info, hamper necessary discussions around their words and actions. And by the way, 2018, oh my God, they were just getting started. Now, one thing I will say about Trump, I found the Truth Social account, and I was reading the Truth Social, and he just can't write in that way anymore. I will talk about that much later, but he has to just communicate effectively. Like, record low poverty. I did all these wonderful things. We didn't have an invasion in Europe. Like Trevor Noah left, and I'm not a fan politically of Trevor Noah at all. But he has talent. And so Trump is like, he has got no talent, and I get it doesn't help politically. Like those independents who read this will leave, but we'll talk about that later. Again, I want Trump or DeSantis in the Oval Office. G. Corber! G. Corber, thank you! G. Corber, thank Ellen, exactly. Exactly, Ellen. Great point. G. Corber, thank you so much, and thank you for being a member. G. Corber, I cannot thank you enough. To my super chat, I cannot thank you enough, everybody. Thank you. G. Corber, thank you so very, very, very much. Thank you, G. Corber, as always. To my super chat, thank you so much. I can't do this without you. I really can't. But after the events of January, the internal and external pressure on Twitter CEO Jack grows. I do believe Dorsey was more a part of this than I think that these journalists and Musk are being very gracious towards Mr. Dorsey. I think that Dorsey gave tacit approval, which is, even if he wasn't a part of it, if Jack Dorsey wasn't a part of all of this corrupt, criminal censorship and silencing and suppressing and basically erasing the First Amendment, even if he wasn't a part of all of that, if you give tacit approval as the head of Twitter, you're still a part of it. You're still a part of it. So, and, you know, he constantly was testifying before Congress saying, no, we didn't do this. That's another thing. Dorsey said that he didn't, that Twitter didn't silence or shadow ban or do any of those things. They did all of those things. Jack Dorsey almost certainly lied under oath. Jack Dorsey almost certainly lied under oath. Numerous times, almost certainly. You cannot tell. I mean, and then they go after, like, you know, anyone like Jeff Sessions, Jeff Sessions is the worst attorney general of all time. Like it's like the Republicans are petrified of committing perjury, with like a difference in terms of semantics or whatever. But then you have Democrats, or you have, like, you know, people that align with Democrats, like Dorsey was for a long, long time, and they're literally like, if you take his words and you take what we found out from Twitter Files 1 through 4 already, and 5 today, okay, then you know that they're lying under oath. They did ban people. They did shadow ban people, and it was based on political ideology. If you run Twitter and then you say, if you run Twitter and you say, we're not banning on political ideology, but if you bring up topics like immigration or the results or you know, a geopolitical crisis in Europe, then you're banned, then you're suspended. You've made the discourse filtered through liberal sensibilities. Then you fall back on, well, that's just the way the algorithm is. That's just the way the computer program. We have nothing to do with the computer program, except you've actually designed the computer program to police certain speech that benefits your political side. So you have nothing to do with you have nothing to do with Twitter's you know, AI, or you have nothing to do with Twitter's speech content moderation, aside from moderating the content so it benefits Democrats and harms Republicans. Other than that, you haven't silenced or shadow banned anyone based on political ideology. I mean, do you understand how absurd that is? Legalize freedom. Thank you. Legalize freedom. Thank you. Peter's son, I will. Thank you. Thank you. Legalize freedom. Thank you. To my super chat. I cannot do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. So when they go ahead and they say, "Oh, we we go ahead and we don't silence people." Okay, former First Lady Michelle Obama, tech journalist Kara Swisher, others, and many others publicly call on Twitter to permanently ban Trump. See, this was despicable. They care so much about one day in January, but an entire summer, which I support people who demonstrated peacefully, but an entire summer where there's $1 to $2 billion in property damage, even if 0.1% of people caused the $1 to $2 billion in property damage, where was the condemnation from Michelle Obama or Kara Swisher or anyone else? There was no condemnation. You had an entire summer where cities where businesses put signs up. "Oh, we support your cause. Please don't torture our business." I mean, it was all over. Every major city had curfews. Why did we have curfews all throughout that summer? Was that okay? Was that good? Was that Trump's fault? No. Was that the fault of the maniacal Trumpers who, or like, honestly, they didn't. The people who committed crimes in January, nobody told them to commit those crimes. Trump had nothing to do with that. They engaged in the same behavior as the people who committed crimes throughout that summer. But you had Democrats saying, "Get in people's faces" for years. And there's no, I mean, one form of chaos and mayhem is condoned because the precedent, the preceding event or catastrophe or tragedy, everyone agrees shouldn't have happened. So people were demonstrating for a noble cause, and then a small number of people got out of line and caused $1 to $2 billion in property damage, and Democrats looked the other way. CNN did everything possible, said fiery but mostly peaceful. If it was Democrats involved in January, you better believe nobody on the left would care at all. Now they made it like, Pearl Harbor. Terrible day what happened that day. Terrible day, but it was like that day happened every single day for an entire summer. And that's a fact. Every single day in one way or another for an entire almost every single day for an entire summer. Almost every single day for an entire summer. And nothing was said by Democrats, and even CNN was saying, "Oh yeah, you know what? Gee, you know what? Fiery but mostly peaceful." All right, so hold on one second. Dorsey was on vacation in French Polynesia the week of January 4th to the 8th. He phoned into meetings, but also delegated much of the handling to senior executives, Twitter's global head of trust and safety, head of legal policy and trust. So he delegated everything to Democrats who happened to be working at Democratic activists who happened to be working at a corporation. So essentially, of course, they weren't being paid as Democratic activists, but they were essentially Democratic activists, essentially working at a private corporation. Okay, so let's continue. As context, it's important to understand that Twitter staff and senior execs were overwhelmingly progressive, of course. 96, 98, 99% of the staff. I mean, there are no. In 2017, Roth, there aren't. That's why you have a distortion of history. To compare. And by the way, Trump was the greatest friend of people of my background. I'm a Jewish American. He was the greatest ally, politician, president, friend of my people, Jewish people, ever. And if you disagree, you're not looking at facts and you're ignorant when it comes to modern U.S. history or world history, and you just don't really care about the same things that like I care about, or even religious people of my background care about, or people who had their bar mitzvah in Israel, like myself. I mean, I'm speaking in roundabout terms. So I'm speaking in a verbose. I can't really explain exactly how I feel, but Trump moved the embassy to Jerusalem, recognized the Golan as Israel's, signed an executive order combating anti-Semitism on college campuses, negotiated the Doha Agreement, which is a landmark, diplomatic achievement, and was the strongest supporter of the country that I had my bar mitzvah in. And so to compare him to the 1930s and 1940s, where the inhumanity and the, I can't speak, but Yad Vashem had to refute AOC's distorted historical revisionism. That should tell you, if Yad Vashem in Jerusalem on Twitter says, yeah, learn more about history, AOC, and I wrote an op-ed on that in the Jerusalem Post, that should tell you the ignorance, the absolute unmitigated ignorance of people, the unmitigated ignorance of people who say that Trump is like anyone in the 1930s and 1940s. Debbie Donovan! H.A. Goodman deserves a Pulitzer Prize on his reporting of Twittergate. Best takes on this all day. Thank you so very much, Debbie! Debbie, thank you. Alan! My man, Alan Harkin! I love when you present issues that any dingbat should... Unfortunately, anything that doesn't. Keep up your outstanding commentary. Thank you so very, very much. It's like the movie Spaceballs, Alan Harkin. I'm surrounded by dingbats. Who appointed this dingbat? I forgot the exact thing, but Alan, thank you so very much. Debbie Donovan, thank you. Debbie Donovan, thank you so much. Greatly appreciated for the kind words. Thank you, Debbie. Alan, thank you, sir. I love that. I love when you present issues that anything I should. You know what? The dingbats have multiplied, or I should say become more prevalent. Alan, people lack wisdom, basic, you know what it is also? Thank you so much, Alan. Thank you so much, as always, for your support, and Debbie as well. Thank you. To my super chat, thank you, Paul, everybody here. This is an arm wrestling match, and they've actually won. Or won the arm wrestling matches recently. That's why I say I look at Trump and it's like, I want Trump back, or DeSantis, but he can't be like, Trevor Noah, he's untalented, he stinks. It doesn't help. It doesn't help politically. It doesn't, even if some of the things like the grievances from Trump, even if some of them are correct or true, it doesn't help with independence. You want leadership. Trump is a good leader, but he was a great president in terms of things accomplished. But a great leader focuses more on lofty or positive things. And Trump, unfortunately, sometimes is focused on things that aren't that positive. Alan, thank you. Debbie, thank you. To my super chat, thank you. So on January 7th, Jackson emails employees saying Twitter needs to remain consistent in its policies, including the right of users to return after a temporary suspension. People care about this, aren't happy with who we are. So I don't really care. This is the thing also, the internal battle within Twitter, I don't care about. I don't see that much of a difference between Dorsey and Roth. They're the same people to me. They just both of them silenced, conservatives. Both of them presided over the silencing and the suppression and the tearing apart of the First Amendment. All of this stuff. Well, if you're the CEO of Twitter and you allow your middle management, because they're meeting with Federal Bureau of Investigation officials every week, you allow your middle management to silence your political rivals, you can't hide from that. You can't hide from that. You can't say that, oh, well, it wasn't my fault. I was just in the Bahamas. I was in French Polynesia when this all happened. I mean, my God, I took my private jet and, all the, I mean, I didn't know. Were they banning Trump? I didn't want that to happen. I wrote them a letter. I said, hey, don't do that, huh? Come on. I mean, they knew exactly what was taking place, or he knew exactly what was taking place. You can't just say, oh, well, it wasn't really my fault. I was only the CEO of Twitter. Can't do that. But here, around 11:30, official DMs his colleagues with news that he's excited to share. Guess what? Jack just approved repeat offender for civic integrity. So it's like the new approach would create a system of 5 violations. It would result in permanent suspension. Yay! We're suspending our political rivals. Yay! Yes! Oh, this is so fantastic. Jack just approved it. Now we'll get Trump. Now those dastardly Republicans will get what they deserve, namely silence. Now we won't have to hear from these people anymore. The Trumpers now, Trump, silence them. I can't stand their horrible words. Silence the Trumpers forever. We have a new policy. You say 5 things that are bad, and you're never going to be on Twitter again. Oopsie. Sorry. Start your own Twitter. Well, Elon Musk has. You like that? Did you like that? Start your own. That Elon Musk has. Progress, exclaimed. The exchange between officials made clear they've been pushing Jack Dorsey for greater restrictions. But they didn't abide by those restrictions when it came to Democrats. We'll find that out. The colleague wants to know if the decision means Trump could finally be banned. Oh, they're begging. They can't wait. They can't wait to ban Trump. Oh, my God, they're so happy. Oh, my God, they're so happy to ban Trump. They're so happy to ban Trump. And Roth's colleagues query incitement to, oh, here we go, incitement to chaos, criminal. He didn't incite it. Trump incited nobody to anything. Want to know how I know? Because if he did, he would have been indicted for it. Should he have said, I mean, honestly, like, him voicing grievance, if Stacey Abrams voices grievance and then somebody does something because Stacey Abrams still thinks she's the governor of Georgia. She will always believe that she's the governor of Georgia, and that's okay for them, and that's okay for the ladies at The View, Democrats, progressives, it's fine. But when Trump does it, it's really bad because he says something that's somewhat different. It's like, okay, do you see him in the Oval Office now? No, he's conceded. So Trump did concede. And then they like, it's really funny too, because they're like, oh, he'll never leave. Oh, he left, but he didn't leave the way we wanted it. Like, Trump can never do right with Democrats because It's about political power. If they can make everything into this hysterical, apoplectic situation, they've won. Then that's usually what happens. That's why they disown friends and family. They can't even have dinner with a Trump supporter. Do you understand? Or a DeSantis supporter. They can't even eat. Like, they can't even get down the food. Like, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's so horrible of a human being. Why don't you do anything about what's taking place in the southern geographic region of our country, where many more people are losing their lives in terrible, the most atrocious manners, in the most atrocious manner. People are losing their lives, the inhumanity going on, it's unbelievable. Oh, because Trump isn't in office, so you don't care about the things you claim to care about. Oh, so it's all about cognitive dissonance. It's not really about morality. It's about your team winning. It's about tribalism and groupthink and your team, your side winning. That's why you can't have dinner with friends and family. That's why. It's not about morality. If it was about morality, you would see the immorality going on and you would try to rectify that in Biden's administration. You might even vote for Trump. Because there would be so many bad things going on in Biden's administration that the only other option would be to vote for DeSantis or Trump. So you can't have that. You can't have that. Lou Maldonado! Lou! Thank you, Lou! Lou Maldonado, thank you! Sherry, I can't do Mitch McConnell right now. I can't do Mitch McConnell, Joe Valdez, and Sherry. I can't do it right now. I'm trying to talk about the Twitter files 5.0. Rolling in my 5.0. Lou Maldonado, thank you. Thank you, Lou. Greatly. But to my super chat, I cannot do this without you people. If you enjoy these live streams, your super chat support is so greatly appreciated. On January 8th, Twitter says its ban is based on specifically how so it is impossible to decipher how Trump's tweets are being received or interpreted. It is impossible. It is not even possible. If that's the case, how was the rhetoric by Democrats interpreted by the small percentage of demonstrators who caused $1 to $2 billion in property damage? You want to go and you want to do that type of, you want to engage in those types of games? I'm thinking now of like these two people on one network. They went after Tim Pool, and of course they utilized the tragedy to go after and condemn Tim Pool and accuse him of things he never said. But one of them said, oh, two can play at that game. And it's like the analogy or the correlation he used was like, what are you talking about? They were just absurd leaps of logic. This is what happens. When Democrats get into like this rage, this like frenzy, the leaps of logic they extend further and further and further and further and further. Soon, not only is Trump the 1930s and 1940s totalitarians, but he'll turn into Satan for the people who aren't atheists on the left. Trump is one step away from actually being the human form of Satan. So it's like these leaps of logic. Like, what? Why? He tweeted bad things. He emboldens bad people. How do you? And most accusations about Trump are subjective in nature. Thomas O'Connor, proud sponsor of The Voice, H.A. Goodman. Thank you so very much. Thomas, I am very, very, very proud to have you and everybody here. And I just thank you, Thomas O'Connor. Thank you, sir. Greatly appreciated. I hope you're having a great Sunday and a fantastic week. Thank you, Thomas. Alan, Debbie, Thomas, everybody here. Lou Maldonado, everyone here, thank you. Thank you so much, Thomas. Thank you. Means a lot to me, and I appreciate the kind words. Thank you. So, specifically how Trump, but you have to understand, they think that Trump supporters are cavemen and cavewomen anyway. They don't even think that we have like a functioning brain. So, so, so when you have a morally superior liberal Democrat trying to get into the brain or lack thereof of a Trump supporter that they think is like a complete moron, they're like these people who lack critical thinking skills and are prejudiced by nature. The Trumpers. The Trumpers who in negative 10-degree weather tried to assault Juicy Smollett. The Trumpers. How are they going to react to Trump's tweets expressing skepticism and not accepting our democracy, Bernie Sanders? You know what? They're probably using this for justification. We have to go ahead and ban everybody. And that's what happened. And that's what happened. And that's exactly what took place. So they couldn't find anything that Trump was doing that actually broke guidelines. So they're like, well, honestly, how are they interpreting it? That'll be a way to ban Trump. Oh, we'll do that. The only serious concern we found expressed within Twitter over the implications of speech banning Trump came from a junior person. God bless this person. This person should be hired by Elon Musk tomorrow and given a raise. This person hopefully is still at Twitter and should get a raise tomorrow. So recall from Twitter Files 2 with Barry Weiss, according to Twitter staff, we control visibility quite a bit, and we control the amplification of your content quite a bit, and normal people do not know how much we do. I remember before Eric Samurai and I and others just left Twitter, I left Twitter. I don't want to be part of Tron. Remember the movie Tron? It's like basically like a video game, Tron. And Tim, hello. Thomas O'Connor, thank you again. To my super chat, thank you. Testing 2741. I fear legal action. It's gonna happen no matter what. So, 2741. I don't think so. It could. You know what? What could happen is the Twitter Files 5 could come out like at 2 in the morning, or tomorrow, or later. You know. Or while we're on this live stream. So I don't think that's the case. 2741, thank you. Even there is no, because you know what? He runs Twitter now. Testing 2741, you know. So. Tim, exactly. So then what they do also is the guilt by association. So you'll have a nonsensical, irrational message board nonsense fantasy that I called out in 2018. I said to everybody, the LMNOP message board nonsense, it's complete nonsense. And then like some individuals, good people who were duped or whatever, I said it was dangerous. I debated one of the people who tried to foment the nonsense. Never trust anything on a message board. It's completely absurd and dangerous. And so sometimes people say, hey, Jay, you're a good person. You're a good person. And I don't want to unsub. I don't want to unsub. I don't want to unsub. But don't say anything about LMNOP. LMNOP is run by very good people. I'm like, no, it's not. It's probably it's probably Democrats. Very bad, very horrible, and for so many reasons. Very bad for a lot of reasons. Indeed, no, a quick search topic, de-amplify accounts, and then they're like, okay, then there's a hashtag that they can get people on, and Paul, thank you so much. And so then there was a hashtag, so they get people on hashtags. Any way to kind of silence people, they any way they kind of silence people. So Norwegian Sea Monster. That's my new fantasy football name, Norwegian Sea Monster. I almost made playoffs in fantasy football. I was one game away, one win away. Really, I mean, essentially one win away from playoffs. Employees struggle to punish users who share screenshots. So this is the thing, like this type of tweet, this is the thing that like Trump has to watch out about. Like he has to, like when Trump is giving them, when they think that they have the moral high ground, that's a problem. See, that's a problem. When Trump thinks, when they think they have the moral high ground simply because they're insulting Trump, like insulting Trump for the morally superior on the left, the highly educated morally superior, insulting Trump is actually a virtuous deed. That's actually a virtuous deed. So it's like he has to stop kind of giving them that enjoyment. Sales exec says, Jack says, we will permanently suspend Trump if our policies are violated after a 12-hour account lock. What policy is Jack talking about? Any violation. Oh my God, they were so happy. Oh my God, they were so happy. They were just salivating. They wanted to just ban Trump so badly. It was unbelievable. They wanted to ban Trump so badly, and it was like just unbelievable. Sorry, can't shut down the entire country or can't traumatize the entire country for their own benefit and expect people to be happy. Can't do that. Sorry. A lot of people lost their lives just from that. The trauma leads to a whole lot of things. Here's a check. The way Democrats are like, we're going to give you a check. But you can't do anything, live life, but here's a check. We're helping you out. Then debt racks up, and I mean, credit card debt, all these, it's nuts. It's nuts. The ad exec is referring to Twitter's policy of public interest exceptions, which allow the content of elective. Okay, so Roth pushes for permanent suspension of Matt Gaetz, even though it doesn't quite fit anywhere, because we're talking about Democrats. This ceases to be a private company now when you're talking about Democrats. And then when they say, like, we weren't doing this out of politics, it just happened to be that everything he said is against what we allow. Well, how did you decide what to allow? Through our political paradigm. Oh, you banned people because you wouldn't allow them to express themselves because expressing themselves goes against your political paradigm. Oh, gotcha. So you are hiding behind corporate policy, apolitical corporate policy, AI, algorithms, computer programs, that monitor speech, and you're doing so apolitically, but everything that's allowed amplifies your political side, and everything that isn't allowed silences and suspends conservatives. So that is apolitical. Gotcha. Okay. Very interesting. Of the thing everyone wants, meaning a Trump ban, everyone wants. Everyone opposed to Trump, everyone who voted for Biden. This was purely political. They were making up and fabricating guidelines, meeting with government officials, being influenced by congressional Democrats. It was completely, like it was Trump's adversaries winning at that point. I mean, Trump lost the ability. He still, like, if you look at his Truth Social, it's the same type of thing. He has to just start just communicating, not just communicating in terms of like, you know, announcement. This is, like loud and you know, like a neon flashing light. He has to start communicating. Here's why I'm better. That's what he did in 2015, 2016. Roth's response hints at how Twitter would justify deviating from its long-standing policy. So there you go. On the evening of January 7th, the same junior employee expressed, okay, so this junior employee should get a raise. He should get a raise. Thank you, Indy. Thank you. Yeah, it's a new computer. The employee notes later in the day, oh yeah, okay. Will notice things to including an article. 1-0 medium called. Okay, so you had people calling out their inconsistencies. This author, the underlying problem, writes Will Oramus, is that the dominant platforms have been loath to own up to their subjectivity because it highlights the extraordinary unfettered power they wield over the global public square. Of course. Now you have Elon Musk just saying the most blasphemous things, and it's so glorious and beautiful. Oh my God. Elon Musk will be viewed as a hero of, I mean, if he continues on this path, will be viewed as a hero, in this time period. Definitely not the wonderful, morally superior, highly educated Democrats who sided with intel agencies and Hollywood directors and late night talk show hosts and tech officials who silenced their political opponents. Testing 2741 to my super chat. Thank you. Would Dems ever hold back on attacking and indicting Trump, try to keep DeSantis from running? They have that level of restraint versus central control. I think that if they can indict Trump on anything, they will. I think they'd rather, even though DeSantis, and look, I love Trump, but I'm trying to tell everybody here, DeSantis would have a much easier time defeating Hillary, because I think Hillary is going to be 24 nominee. I think that's happening. Eventually, I'll be right. 10 years from now, 20, 30 years from now, I'll be right. Or mashed potato brains Joe. Great question. Testing 2741. I think that they're so obsessed with Trump that if they try, they're so obsessed with Trump that they'll find some way to indict him. But DeSantis, they think they can. They'll probably try to roll the dice with DeSantis. I don't know. I think DeSantis could actually do have an easier time, a much easier time, because independents are more open to DeSantis. That's the issue. That's the issue. So 2741. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. 2741. Thank you to my super chat. I cannot thank you enough, everybody. If you have questions or comments on all of this, let me know via the super chat. Thank you. Testing 2741. Thank you. So Facebook suspension of Twitter now puts Twitter. Indeed, as BarryWise will show tomorrow, that's exactly what happened. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Come on, we got 600 people on this live stream. All right, not yet. Not yet. I mean, we will be here for a little while longer. Hopefully it drops while we're on the live stream. But ladies and gentlemen, this is an example. If you have a team, if Trump is playing against a team, okay, I might just do another live stream at around 10 p.m. So we might do another live stream at around 10 p.m. people. So we'll stay a little longer. You know what? Here's what happens. Eric Samurai, Tim, hello. Here's what happens. When you have, that's right, Peter. When you have, ladies and gentlemen, sacred cows, when you prop up sacred cows, and anyone who disagrees with you has blasphemed, okay? When you prop up sacred cows and you create this decorum, or when you regulate emotion, okay? When you manipulate and regulate and monitor emotion, because this is like, there needs to be some kind of like way to tabulate or to quantify emotional responses to Democrats and Trump or DeSantis. You have two political sides. Trump, here's what Trump should do and he doesn't do, and this is what Democrats do very well. Democrats are very, very good at fomenting emotions, like elevating or creating or fomenting or increasing the intensity of skepticism, distrust, disdain, anger, frustration, all leveled at Trump. And they do that by, we're seeing with the Twitter files, by amplifying certain tweets and suspending conservative voices. Okay. Born to Raise Hawks, thank you. Thank you, Born to Raise Hawks. Thank you so very, 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 very much. Born to Raise Hawks, thank you. Discus Macabre, any thoughts on eventual outcome from these dumps? Great question. Born to Raise Hawks, as always, sir, thank you. Born to Raise Hawks, thank you. Great question. I think that a political paradigm will change overnight. Things that you couldn't say on Twitter or even in discussion, now you can actually say. It's glorious and beautiful, Discus Macabre. And I'm not talking about like going off the deep end, like logical, rational things that things you can back up. Like, sorry, can't shut down society because you think it'll help people. Sorry, can't do that. I don't care if smart people told you to do it. I don't care if people studied the issue, and because the data shows that it was a cataclysmic, apocalyptic failure of biblical proportions. And we're going to have a major, major stock market crash directly because of this. We've seen the market crash, but nothing like what it's going to be. Born to Raise Hogs, thank you as always. Thank you as always, thank you. Born to Raise Hogs, thank you. To my super chat, thank you so much. What they do, and they've done this for years, is they make topics, they make skepticism, healthy, rational skepticism, not like stupid, absurd leaps of logic. You can tell if somebody is skeptical of something. You can tell whether the person has a logical and rational viewpoint or the person is just stupid. You could tell that. You can also tell the rationality of the argument by the response from apoplectic, hysterical, morally superior, highly educated, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful liberal Democrats. When they go like this, and they go like this, and they turn into like this like cartoon character, yeah, you know that it's like kryptonite. And like risk reward ratios are an example. Well, I wouldn't do that. Well, then that's fine. But I'm doing that, or I'm not doing that. But you know what? You should do those things. Why should I do those things? Because smart people tell you, but I don't want to actually risk, um, you know. But everyone says that you should go and walk on a tightrope across the Grand Canyon. But if I do that, I'll fall toward to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. What's the point of that? Because if you do that, it's been shown that you'll be happier. But I don't. But I'm already happy. But you'll be happier. But I'm happy. You know what? I'm not your friend anymore. Okay. Well, I guess it's like that song. I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. Don't be afraid to let it show. Um, when people like, sure, 7318, hello. When people, Rose, exactly. Debate has become a battle of sensibilities in our country. Sensibilities have nothing to do with argumentation. Your feelings or your emotions or your indignation has nothing to do. Your belief in authority has nothing to do with logic and reason. Your belief in authority should be predicated upon the fact that the authority can easily explain through a logical and rational viewpoint why you should engage in a course of action. Not just, well, this person said so, so I guess it's good. That never happened before. Like all of these people that media, government officials, academia, academics, they never really had such a profound influence upon the day-to-day decision making of the average American. When you start having too much, when you start like being too influential in the business pocketbook lives, like if the proclamation of a government official will decide whether you make money that month or not, that's a big problem. That's a big problem. Sorry, big problem. Can't do that. Can't do that. Better be batting 1,000. You better be batting 1,000 if you do that. You strike out, sorry. No one's really going to care. If you strike out after you demand absolute allegiance, no one's going to give you the benefit of the doubt. No one's going to say, gosh, well, you did try. Or like the imbeciles will say, well, at least you tried. You better be like 100% accurate at all times if you demand absolute obedience. And that's also like what takes place when you have government officials and media and academics, and these people say, we're the smartest people in the room and you better listen to us. And then they're wrong once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 times in a row, or 10 times out of 100, or 10 times out of 20 times out of 500, or, things that they say. It's like, well, you're demanding allegiance and obedience because you're acting as if you're infallible. You're omnipotent. You know everything. Everyone should follow you. It's basically like a cult leader So you have government officials saying, do this, do that. And you have Democrats saying, well, you know what? We have to do this and do that. Let's print more money. And lives are ruined, or lives are, interrupted. And if you don't have, if you're struggling to make, if you don't have everything you need in life at that moment, and then society shuts down, well, that's not a good situation. That's not a good situation at all. The homeless population has skyrocketed, so exactly, sure, 7318, exactly. People have lost their lives. The trauma alone, people, it was a huge thing. I mean, the trauma from censorship, but also from shutting down economic activity. People were not used to that trauma because we've never had that before. I mean, that was unheard of. That was absolutely unheard of. And then when Elon Musk says, yeah, prosecute government officials, when you are manipulating, whether you can do so or not, if a bureaucracy allows people to manipulate, okay? If a bureaucracy allows you, if media allows you to manipulate and to be wrong but demand complete obedience and allegiance, and to lie under oath, you're probably going to get prosecuted eventually because you're corrupt. These people enjoy power. Trump doesn't. See, that's the funny thing. Like, if he enjoyed power and if he enjoyed politics more, he might be smarter. But he's actually just a different kind of character. Trump doesn't need politics. Democrats need politics, like from Tammany Hall to today. That's why the optics are like on point, and even when the optics are horrendous, they get media to cover up or silence opponents, like we're seeing with the Twitter files. So but Kali, hello. I think that this is going to be a paradigm changing moment, ladies and gentlemen. The things that Elon Musk is saying, these are things that immediately Democrats are like, he's become a right, ultra MAGA, oh my God, he's an extreme right winging Elon Musk. Oh, he's just, oh my God. But these are rational. It is rational and logical to call for the prosecution of a government official who manipulated public sentiment. And changed his tune numerous times while manipulating public sentiment. And potentially lied under oath. It is rational and logical to do that. Elon Musk probably knows a lot more about the lying under oath than we do. So, yeah, some people, if you regurgitate CNN all the time and your argument is based on what you think is a conspiratorial theory when actually it could be the truth, for example, when Hunter Biden's laptop came out, and anyone who said it was an example of interference by another country was the same type of person who wants to silence debate, discourse, dialogue, discussion because they don't have an argument. It's like the same person who says that Trump tried to overthrow the government. Like, well, you don't, that's obviously not true. He wasn't indicted for that, and you can't prove that because he didn't do that. So, so I know that if I end this stream, I know the second I end it, Barry Weiss is gonna it's gonna be up on here the second that I end it. But I will have a live stream tonight, ladies and gentlemen, at around 10 p.m. Pacific, people. So let me ask you this question. Let's do a start a poll. Who will be here for the 10 p.m. live stream? Who will be here for the 10 p.m. live stream, ladies and gentlemen? Who's going to be here for the 10 p.m. live stream Pacific? Come on, people. We got 556 people. Feels good to have so many people. Feels good. Feels good. All right. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you. Thank you, Matthew. All right. So we will have a 10 p.m. live stream tonight. We'll go a couple more minutes. Born to Raise Hogs, awesome! Thank you, Born to Raise Hogs, thank you. Awesome, testing. Eric, awesome. But Kali, awesome. So, wow. So we'll go a little longer. When we get under 500, I'll definitely stop this. So these, by the way, these people, Elon Musk and Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger and Bari Weiss, the Free Press, they are redefining journalism also. And you better believe if there's an actual serious, like legitimate topic of this, like investigative journalism pertaining to Trump. See, Trump didn't have servers. If he had servers with top secret intel, I wouldn't vote for him. Trump didn't have a laptop from Hades. He didn't have all of that. Like if Trump tried to suppress or cheat DeSantis like they did with Bernie Sanders, I wouldn't vote for Trump. If Trump acted like a Democrat, I wouldn't vote for him. That's the thing. But if he does act like a Democrat, you can better believe that these journalists will go and actually, you know, they've redefined journalism. I mean, you have the Washington Post like losing money. I mean, it would be on the way to bankruptcy if Bezos didn't own it. That's for sure. The Washington Post would be on its way to bankruptcy if Bezos didn't own it. Kim McGuire! Kim, thank you! Hello, my friend. Finally caught you live. Thank you, Kim. Thank you so much. We'll do a little bit more. We're going on an hour and a half. We'll do a little bit more. Thank you so very, very much. But Kim, I'll have a live stream also tonight at 10 p.m. Pacific. But Kim, thank you so much. Thank you so very, very, very much. Kim, thank you. Thank you, Kim. I hope all is well. I mean, journalism is being redefined. This is actually a really awesome time, ladies and gentlemen. Because I want to tell you something. Kim, everybody here. Born to Raise Hogs, Alan, everybody here. Debbie, everybody here. Eric, everybody here. I'm just going to keep doing that for all 527 people. If Elon Musk hadn't purchased Twitter, we would have had a very dark, very tumultuous 2 years. They would have made it a lot more difficult to voice your opinion. The First Amendment, Democrats want to erase the First and the Second Amendment. It's not hyperbole, actually. It really isn't. It really isn't. If you took a poll of people, and I think I believe it's happened, but if you ask a lot of very active, Lou, thank you, politically active people in their early 20s, like very politically active people on the left, like progress, I say far left activists, I say socialists or communists. If you ask a socialist who's like 23 years old, would you be in favor of erasing the First Amendment if it helped promote socialism or communism or morality and justice? They would do so. They would do so. Exactly. Communists and socialists don't like the First or the Second Amendment. They can't have that. You can't have the First Amendment in a communist country. It makes no sense. You wouldn't have the communism wouldn't survive. Liana Bond going a nighty night adorable. Thank you so very much, Liana. Thank you. Very kind words. Thank you so much. Liana, thank you. Thank you, Liana Bond. Have a great evening. Thank you so much. I'll see you this week on this channel. Joel, hello. Kim, Liana, thank you so very, very, very much. That actually, and Jenny, it was like it was going to come to a point where you'd have to actually speak Latin to get around the algorithms. What is it? Cogito ergo sum. I'll give you a shout out if you can tell me what that means in Latin. I know what it means, but cogito ergo sum. What does that mean? I'll give you a shout out right now. Or cogito or cogito ergo sum. Come on now. Eric Samurai, I know you know this. What does cogito ergo sum mean? Is this mic on? Just want to make sure. I'm pretty sure I know exactly what it means, but I'm pretty sure. I'll give a shout out to the first person. What does cogito ergo sum mean? Come on now. I would have had to start speaking in Latin if Elon Musk didn't. Talk to me, people. Cogito ergo sum. Somebody. Um, I realized that Trump was doing a very good job in terms of the economy and foreign policy. What drives me, and this is how you go from Bernie Sanders to Trump, is foreign policy. I oppose the Lincoln Project, never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. So, yes, born to raise hogs! Yes! Born to raise hogs. The first person in 500 people to... You could have gone on Google. You could have just looked it up. Yes, born to raise hogs. Thank you. Out of 500, the first person out of 500 people born to raise hogs. Thank you so very, very, very much. Yes. PH Joy, yes. Indy, yes. Or no, Phoebe, yes. Oh, they did? Okay, let's see. Okay, hold on one second. He says, he says the bots are unable to swarm the top line. The bots are. This is like this is an awesome person. This guy's an awesome person. All right, let's see. Steppenwolf, hello. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go a couple more minutes. I just want to see. I just want to see if Liana Kim McGuire. Thank you again. Yes, Don. Exactly. Um. All right. Hold on. Let me tell you something. Matt Taibbi, Barry Weiss, Michael Schellenberger, everyone at the Free Press. My God, not since, not since a publisher who should be free right now in 2016. This is the most important. These are the most important revelations. Like literally nothing the New York Post and Washington did, but New York Times. Sorry, New York Post is amazing. Sorry, scratch that. New York Post is they deserve the Pulitzer prizes. Literally nothing the New York Times and Washington Post did the past 6 years comes close to what Matt Taibbi or Michael Schellenberger or Barry Weiss did, and people at the Free Press did, along with Elon Musk. Like nothing compares to what like nothing compares to what these people are doing to allow like here's the thing. We never had a problem. 20 years ago, 10 years ago even, before 2015, you could express any thought you wanted on YouTube, on Twitter, and you could be blocked, you could be muted, you could express any thought that you wanted. I want to go back to those days where you can express a thought and the merit of your argument is what, not whether your argument is touches upon a sacred cow. Do you know how many times the past 2 years the past 2 years plus 3 years, I had a rational, logical, reasonable argument that I couldn't express? Do you know how many times I would have had 500,000 subs? But it is what it is. I thank God I have the 200,000 plus and H.A. Goodman's other channel, the Stock Market Crash channel, and I'll start working those more to build those channels. Subscribe to those channels. I'll have very important segments tomorrow. I know I always say that, but I will. I thank God for what I have, but if I was able to actually communicate my thoughts, you know, the thing is, Elon Musk is tearing apart sacred cows. Sacred cows are the worst things. They stifle. When Democrats would say, "Oh, if you don't listen to us, you'll never breathe again. You might not spend a longer time on this planet if you don't believe everything we say. Hop on one foot and take those flaming bowling pins and start juggling them on a unicycle, on a tightrope, across the Grand Canyon. Do it now! Smart people said you should do it. But it doesn't make any sense. Smart people say you do it. But if I fall off the tightrope, it's very rare that you would ever do that. Fall off a tightrope while on a unicycle, juggling flaming bowling pins. That's very rare that would ever happen, that you would fall off. But is there even a safety net? This is, of course, satire. But because Democrats made everything into their sensibilities, DCD, hello. Because Democrats made everything turn into their sensibilities, God forbid you say, I don't want to ride a unicycle. God forbid. God forbid you don't want to do whatever it is they want you to do. God forbid, God forbid. Big problem, big problem. Big, huge problem. This has never happened, by the way. Like, it was never like this. It was never like this. And I see young people doing things that, like, young people are beautiful and they're wonderful. Like, people in their 20s and vibrant. And it doesn't matter what your political ideology is. You know what? If you're in your 20s, a lot of times you're vibrant, optimistic, and that's beautiful. But you see things that a 20-year-old when I was 20 would never do in a million years. Just would never do. Like if the government said when I was in my 20s or late teens, if the government said, you should probably do this, do this, it's better for you, and I found it to be stupid or inconvenient, I'd be like, nah, that's lame. There was much, like, you look at the record industry now, like the music world. Who are the Mavericks? Like, growing up, because a lot of people were Mavericks. In fact, like the whole, it's funny because the Spinal Tap was directed by the guy who is like has the most derangement issues pertaining to Trump. But anyway, I'm going off on a million different tangents. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless. Be here tonight for the live stream at about 10:15. They are, Indy, they are. Be here tonight at 10:15, people. We had such a fantastic live stream. To my super chat, Alan Harkin, everybody here, Debbie, everybody here, I cannot thank you all enough. Kim McGuire, everyone, thank you so very, very much. To my super chat, thank you. Liana, thank you. And I'll be here back at around 10 p.m. Look for the link in the live stream and check the channel at around 10 p.m., people. We will have a live stream then. Thanks so much, everybody. God bless. To my super chat, thank you so very